Well, good morning, good evening, good afternoon, wherever you are. My name is Alex. I'm here with Ai Chung Ching, and I have a great guest that I've been waiting years to get on the show, Michele Ponte. Welcome to China, my friend.
Thank you for having me here, Alex.
It's been a while. Let's dial this back all the way back to 2019, 2020. I had just returned from Ai Chung Ching around, I would say, 5th or 6th of January 2020. And not shortly after that, you came to visit me in Thailand. And all I was talking about was China, China, China. And well, we tried our damnness and we finally got you here. It took a while, but welcome to China, my friend.
Thank you. It really took a while. I think we tried to get me in China for about 2 years, maybe even more. And you yourself tried to get back to China for the past 3 years. So,
we just want to say hi to some of our supporting guests that have been here for this journey. Hi to Ken. Thank you for joining, Kevin. Thank you very much, Nicole. Great for you guys to join us. This was kind of a spontaneous live stream, but we have to do that because things are very fast moving here. You have an amazing schedule booked all the way up, I think, right up until potentially an extension of more time here. We're hoping.
For that. Yes,
so that would be great. Well, I mean, I think everybody heard me talk a lot last night on my live stream, the Let's Talk China live stream. But today we're here, and this is all about you today. I want you to kind of maybe walk us through the transition on where you were with a vlogger about a year ago in a very difficult time in the world. And now what maybe is your goals, maybe landing here in China, kind of bring us back a year and walk us to where we are today.
So I've been traveling for the past 3 years. At first, because I got stuck in Thailand, and Alex hosted me for like 3 months or even more. So I'll be forever grateful. And then after Thailand, I moved to Africa. I stayed there for 9 months. I was trying to escape many restrictions right and left and to keep the channel alive. This was the main goal. Because coming back to Europe, it would mean the end of this career. So the best option was to stay in Africa. And then after Africa, I went to Mexico with the idea that I was going to take a flight to China. And this happened, I think, almost a year ago. I don't remember exactly the dates, but it's incredible. And the idea was like, yes, Mexico is free, Mexico is open. And once we are ready with the visas, once they open the country, it's the perfect place where to find a flight, maybe through Canada, and then land somewhere, maybe Shanghai, Beijing. But 6 months later, I was still in South America.
The days of us, travel vloggers, the days of us really kind of getting that last minute flight, moving on towards another country are a little bit more complicated in this day and age right now. One of them is I don't think discount flights are as cheap as they used to be.
Exactly.
So the cost of maintaining you as a travel blogger has gone up. So we're relying more now on our audience to kind of help us transition through this time. And I can understand that it's an incredibly busy time. Now, let me just give you an idea of what, travel vloggers, myself and Michele Ponte go through. Normally what you like to do is you like to look forward into the schedule, maybe a month or the next few weeks. Now that was 2019. That was pretty easy to kind of migrate. You can get a visa within 1 or 2 days. You can get a flight within 1 or 2 hours and then get on that flight, book the flight, even the hotel, when you land or right at the airport. Now with the restrictions still kind of, I would say almost gone, there's still this lag of people trying to get up to speed with it. And things are much more expensive, I would say, traveling.
Yes.
So the thing about it is now you have to really pick a destination. Now, I'm going to go into details about this. And I'm not sure if you're going to want to touch on this, but
no.
Here's the complicated part. And this is the first time I've had a travel vlogger come into China to talk about this. That's right, guys. I've been here for a couple of years. I've been waiting for this time to happen. When you're moving countries, you're actually putting a lot at risk on your channel, aren't you?
I do agree. The majority of the audience is interested in what they have already seen. and that's why they subscribe to your channel, because they like the content you previously made. And then you come to China, maybe you need to change your style a bit. I'm testing some voiceover, I'm testing music, I'm testing other things, just because the country is different and the way you shoot videos is different, and my approach needs to be different as well.
Yeah, and I'm going to dig even deeper into that. For example, if you're a vlogger and let's say that you started your vlog in the Philippines, we got an interesting question here that's come up. And I'll put that on the screen while we talk here. Passport Light says, guys, I want to travel vlogger, any advice? So first of all, it is, building a loyal audience that wants to follow you everywhere. That's tough. That's difficult.
Yes.
We've seen vloggers be extremely successful in the Philippines. The moment they step out of the Philippines, some of their views crash. And when you see the views crash, that's revenue for a vlogger from an advertising standpoint. That impacts them a lot. So that's why we see other vloggers have a Patreon account, have a PayPal. What are your donation things that you have on your channel?
I have a bit of everything, but the majority of the donations comes through PayPal, and that's the way I survive, to be honest. Because you cannot rely on the YouTube income. Like we said, if we change country, sometimes it can be too low, sometimes it can surprise you, and when you change country, also changes the revenue. It could be like $2 for 1,000 views in one country, $4 in another, 50 cents in another. So you cannot rely on YouTube, but the fans, the biggest supporters through PayPal and Patreon, are the stable income that you're like, oh, I can sleep tonight.
Yeah, this whole theory of, well, travel vloggers, they're traveling and they're YouTubers and they have this unlimited resources of cash. I mean, that is not necessarily true. Now, you have to really structure your channel, at early stages. I would say for the first couple of years, when I was starting my channel, there was no revenue. I mean, it was minimal revenue, not even remotely close covering the expenses.
No.
And to answer this advice to Passport Light here, when you're starting out, you're going to need an investment, and then that's going to be camera investments. Maybe you want to add aerials to your documentaries or to your vlogs. That's a cost. So I would say, from my standpoint, being with this guy here, what I've learned from him is keep it simple on the start, and don't ramp up and buy a bunch of expensive equipment.
No, absolutely
you
not.
could even buy some used stuff if it's available on the internet, and slowly walk towards, and you will find your audience, and maybe not try to do everything. Now, the beautiful thing about you is I've noticed that you have a loyal audience, and they understand the highs and lows that you go through. It would be amazing if your channel just absolutely, when you go to a new country, takes off and you build another audience.
Yes, that would be perfect. But I would say, more than cameras, equipments, and so on, you need to learn storytelling. Storytelling is a key not only through this vlogging life that we have, but it's key to find a job, it's key to perform better at work, and it's key to be interesting to people. So I would say, if you're a great storyteller, you can film on your telephone and the video could get 1 million views potentially. But
and that's a nice feeling, when you get that video that really, and these videos could take off for no reason.
Yes.
They could skyrocket because they are a hot search term. It might not even, it all depends on YouTube as well. And that's why you see a lot of these vloggers try to diversify ways of getting funds, because every day you wake up, you have a temporary place to stay unless you have friends or people that are there to help you. The clock starts burning as soon as you wake up in the morning. And then we're not even talking about the unlimited hours for editing.
Having friends and fans that become friends is the best feeling ever, to be honest, because they know you and they know what you go through. And in many occasions, like in India, I didn't pay rent for 2 weeks in Kashmir. I didn't pay rent for a week in Sikkim. In Thailand, I didn't pay rent thanks to Alex. And in Kenya, my friends hosted me in various occasions. It's not the best way of sleeping because I end up on a couch that is half my size.
Right.
But still saving money. Or you have to travel to very, very cheap countries like Colombia. Like I was able to afford for $15. Not a very good hotel, but I had my room and it was even breakfast included. And then at breakfast, you become a friend with the guy serving you, and they're like, "Okay, do you want something more, Michele?" I'm like, "Okay, yes, please."
I've watched your journey for the last couple of years here, and even though we sometimes go to different countries and part our ways, there's still that communication throughout the community. I think a healthy YouTube community of travel vloggers. Some people have their own agenda, but ones that really want to build relationships. And that's the one thing that I can give a gentleman that asked earlier about advice is build relationships within this community, because you never know who that person might be. That person might be somebody that their channel blows up to be 5 million and they remember all the great things that you did in supporting you in that journey. It really is important.
For example, here in the comments, we have Ken Wigger. And guys, he was the one that told me, Michele, you should start Patreon.
Oh, really?
Yes.
I didn't
He
know that.
insisted on that many, many times until I said, okay, let's do it. And now I know it's not much for Western standards, but every month between $100 and $150, they do enter, and they will take cover of my food expenses. And it's a great feeling to have a community that is supporting you. And the other good feeling about my community, especially, Ken, Randy, Erin, Zora, they all became friends through each other. Even without me, they still speak to each other.
Really?
It's beautiful. Yeah.
And some of them spill over. Guys, that's lightning outside, if you've heard that in the background. And wow. Okay, another thing I want to get into here is this journey to China. Now, of course, you've heard a lot about me living in China and a lot about China from me.
Yes.
Probably too much. Now tell me, walk me through the feeling of first getting a visa. Do you go to an embassy, or do you go to, how does China do visas for your nationality now?
So there are Chinese visa centers around the world.
So are those embassies, or are they help centers, or what are they?
They are external offices connected to the embassies. And depending on the country where you are in, there are some requirements.
Okay.
And the visa center in Kenya didn't trust me or didn't let me do the visa from Kenya. So I had to go back to Europe. I have two nationalities, Italian and Polish. So I had to choose from where to do it. It was the first day they announced the opening of the tourist visa. I booked an appointment.
Okay, good man.
I filled the form and everything. To fill the form, you need to be very careful. But if you make any mistakes on the form, in the 5 days previous to the appointment date, you can fix it, and then you go to the appointment, you tell to them, look, I know the code of my previous form was this one, but I'm bringing you this other code because I made some mistakes. And they will accept it.
Okay.
The line will be maybe a bit longer, but they will accept it.
Okay.
And then they will tell you, okay, we can give you 1 month, or if you're a lucky American, we can give you 10 years. Yes.
So there are a lot of, I guess, visa choices now to come to the country. One of them is tourists. Another one is business visa. Another one is education visa. I mean, they're all open now. Family visit visas, wide open. But that doesn't necessarily mean that all countries are running on the same standards. For example, my wife is coming back from Thailand to China today. She went to Thailand to visit her parents. It was the first time that she could leave China on her visa. And some flights require a PCR test. Some don't require a PCR test.
So complicated.
Some, if it's a direct flight, no problem. If it's transition through another country, maybe it is. So we're still seeing a backlog maybe of information catch up to, what the government has said. And the government says, we're open, open up, no more of the tests. So we're seeing that little, we'll call it stutter steps at the start to eventually kick this into high gear.
Yes. The problem is that the airlines are very confused and they don't want to make mistakes. So they put in place so many restrictions, more than the country is actually asking.
Yes, and I think the airlines, I think we can understand that there were quite strict circumstances that the airlines can fly into China before you got here. And that was, they had to make sure that they weren't bringing COVID people into this country, because if they would lose their route, and that would cost the airline a considerable amount of money. Boy, it was very, very complicated. This country, for the last couple of years, took the dynamic zero COVID policy extremely serious. I think it, from my opinion, living outside of China and living inside of China during this process, I have to tell you that the health and safety of the people was the number one priority when I was here. Many other nations might feel that the restrictions that were put on, but for most part, China was open inside the country. Now you might say, well, people couldn't travel out, but I mean, this is a country of 1.5 billion. It's got 100 mega cities of over 1 million people. There's a fair amount to do while it was closed. And the only time we really experienced some restrictions were that bigger kind of dynamic COVID policy restrictions put in around November. And then quickly after that, the government just said, okay, we're open. I think it caught a lot of people by surprise. So you got this visa. And now, what were you thinking in your head what China was like?
Yeah.
Any friends, family, or even subscribers said, don't go?
Yes.
Really?
I mean, not directly not go, but they were suspicious. And I was suspicious too, but more in, I want to be surprised. I want to see if what people tell is true, if what people tell is just lies, who can I trust? So until you have your own personal experience, it's very hard to believe gospel, you know.
Yeah, I can imagine that. And so what were the people saying about, you know, I heard this, or I heard, well, we don't have to get into too many deep rumors about it, but were they concerned for your safety?
Oh, you will not be able to shoot videos there. You will eat this and this. They will arrest you. They will not let you speak.
Okay. So in their eyes, and we have to appreciate that a lot of people haven't come to China or experienced China. They've just watched what they've seen on the mainstream media about China, which is we got to understand that.
Yeah,
right?
no, I do understand.
Not everybody has the ability to really, you know, do that extensive research. But let's say that it in some people's minds that to them you couldn't film. You would be told to stop filming. Do you think that is the case here?
I disagree, but everybody is brainwashed by their own medias. So I don't think you can have a perspective on the world unless you travel. And every country follows their own politics, and every country thinks that they are better than others. Like, I know Italians that when they travel, they don't try foreign food, for example.
Okay.
So, because they're like, we are better, we have our own food, why should I eat something else? To me, the best way is always to experience things personally,
right?
And then I'll be able to judge. So I've seen China a lot through your videos. Alex, Reporter 5 Media, subscribe to his personal channel. And I've seen lots of aerials, especially. Aerials, sorry.
Okay.
And I wanted to see the city from the ground.
Right.
And that is what the first thing that shocked me. Seeing it from the ground, seeing all these people walking, it gave me a totally positive and good feeling. And this is how I like things, because I'm so used that in Italy we walk from location to location. In downtown, there is no way you can actually take a car unless you take the metro. It's so busy. So we landed. You met me in Chongqing. You asked me also. You asked me in Chengdu. Then we had a walk in Chengdu, and we passed through a normal mall, a rich people mall, squares, lots of people, food stalls, everything. And I'm like, oh, this is so colorful and pretty. I'm like, okay.
You know, something that I think that I would like to tell the viewers here is that there's actually more filming in public by Instagrammers YouTuber style of sites. Remember, China has its own social networks. Bilibili, Douyin, Tuchao. Douyin is the parent company of TikTok. I mean, that'll tell you the size of it. But from what I saw just on the weekend with you, is that there are more people in public with their phones and video cameras out, to the point where, I don't know if you guys can see in our studio here, we have a bunch of what would we call these lamps?
Bulb lights.
Bulb lights above us. People actually bring their own equipment out to film.
Yes.
Actually, some people are doing choreographed dancing. This is right in the city center of a city of 33 million people. So this whole vision, and I didn't say anything to you. I just let you just kind of take it in to see what it was like.
Yes. I mean, I've seen it through your videos, but then personal experience is what wins your heart.
So tell us, I mean, what have you been seeing around the city? You've been here now. Okay, you're in a mega city of Chengdu. Tell us about that journey to Chongqing.
Oh, I know where you're going with this.
No.
So China has some of the fastest trains on the planet. Probably the only country that can compete with China is Japan. And this train was so incredibly long. I don't know how many thousands of people it was carrying, but it would be like lining up 20 airplanes and you will get maybe the same amount of people. The train is incredibly quick. It's 300 kilometers in 1 hour?
340.
340.
It's called the Fuxing line. And we do have over 60,000 kilometers of high-speed rail here in China. But this train in particular is a train that can reach speeds of 350, I think even higher. That's what it was doing.
Being born in Europe, I favor trains over airplanes. You don't have to do the check-in that takes 300 hours. You don't need to be there 2 hours earlier or 3 hours earlier. You don't lose time with the train. It's efficient and it brings you directly in the city or nearby the city center. So I am a huge fan of trains. Plus, they are very comfortable. You don't have to stay in that tiny seat. Maybe from the cameras, people will not understand it, but I'm pretty tall and large. So
and it's interesting because your experience. We just booked second-class passenger tickets. It wasn't even business or even first class.
I live on the second and third class usually.
And the thing is you're holding a coffee right now.
Yes. Take the bus, guys.
You could put that into the window of the train and it wouldn't spill. That's how smooth it was, huh?
Absolutely smooth.
So, I mean, an incredible journey. And I think that, when people try to understand what that means for a country like China, well, when you have a population of 1.5 billion people and you've got to move these people around, whether it's birthdays, whether it's annual events, this is really a life changer. Can you imagine if a relative of yours lived 800 kilometers away? Okay, one, you can get into the car, drive. That's a day. The cost of fuel, eating, sitting in the car, 8-10 hours, and the safety on road safety and the wear and tear in your car. That's one option. Or the other option is to take a 2-hour high-speed rail train from end to end, no problem. Book the tickets on your phone, hop onto the train. Or if you wanted to meet, I always give the example of my mother, where in Canada, I lived around 900 kilometers away from her. And wouldn't it be amazing that if you could call your mom, who my sisters only visit a few times a year because of the distance, because of the roads, the complications, the weather, so many restrictions. But imagine if you could say to your mother, okay, Mom, let's meet halfway in an hour and 10 minutes. And we'll be able to have lunch together. I'm going to be back. You keep chatting away.
Yes. So let me take over Chongqing. Oh, no, it's fine. It's fine. Guys, I've been here for more than a week, maybe a bit more. And I've been posting some stories on Instagram, for example. And people are totally surprised. Like if I go to a nightclub and there is a girl giving me a shot through a bottle or something, I get comments like, oh, do they allow that in China? I'm like, oh, why not? Why not? People like to party in every single country. There are no differences. People like to enjoy life, and people like to experience things. There are so many restaurant possibilities. Let me plug in the computer. Here it is. Okay. We're gonna welcome back Alex, but now the channel is ours. I really like the microphone in the studio, by the way. Looks very professional. Anyway, one thing that surprised me about China: so many electric cars, and we can see Alex trying to fix this thing. Yes, there are so many electric cars everywhere. What I did learn is that every car plate that has a green color is an electric car, and it's good for the air pollution in the city. I would say in Delhi, the capital of India, I was never able to see the sky. It was almost impossible to see it. It was always a gray sky. Here, every other morning I wake up and I see this blue, and blue is such a positive color in your life, like the sea. It's relaxing, everything. Let me check some questions. Why don't they ask, do they allow this in the West? They should ask the question instead of giving how some people were already can send. So that I have no idea. They saw Alex had popping out from the screen. Oh, 800 kilometers. That's larger than Germany is wide. Yes. Tell us, how do you easily get girls?
Is that a question?
Yes.
Okay, answer it.
Confidence is key. Make lots of jokes. Be positive. Don't tell sad stories. And hire me as your wingman. If you hire me, you're going to get every girl on the planet. And the best wingman on the planet, you will see. But please, don't pay immediately for every girl's drink. Just make them deserve it. Or they will think that you're spoiling them and they will use another man after you.
But I mean, are people approach? These are some interesting questions. Are people approachable? You've kind of experienced a little bit of the nightlife here.
Yes.
I mean, is it? Give you an example. I'm kind of a little. Of course, I'm a little bit older, but I do like to maybe go out to a nice lounge once in a while if I'm visiting my native country. But
yes,
now there is an element of more of a security issue, where how they've moved Western society and some of the licensing, even in these venues, open at 10, close at 2. Well, you got 4 hours. Everybody usually sits there, drinks a lot of alcohol, and then comes out of the bar supercharged. And we see a lot of issues after bar closures in a lot of these Western cities. It doesn't take much to look on YouTube to find some of these things happen. And that's kind of where I'm concerned about. If you're a tourist and you're traveling to a foreign country and you go and enjoy the nightlife, you have to be a little bit concerned about it, right?
Okay.
But you got a lot of experience in this.
Yes.
So
let me tell one very positive thing about nightlife here.
Okay.
I showed it in my last video. There are guys with these tiny motorcycles that they can fold the motorbike, put it in the back of your car, drive you home safely, and then fold the motorcycle again, unfold it, and drive to their other job.
Yeah, I think, this is a situation where you have countries that have a lot of rules, regulations on what they can and can't do. And I'll try to be a little bit more clear and open thinking about this. For example, if you're a Canadian or American and you go out to drink, all right, you want to meet your friends, you want a couple of drinks. Doesn't take much to go over the legal limit of drinking and of alcohol in Western countries, for sure. But if you go over that, or let's say you have one drink or maybe 1.5 drinks or whatever, you have to be extremely cautious on your blood alcohol level. Now, of course, people say, well, drink responsibly. I totally understand that.
Yes.
But let's say for the people that have made a mistake, it's truly a huge mistake. Now, everyone says you should be responsibility for what you're doing. But if you look at certain things and certain issues, Yes, there's rules and regulations and laws to abide and follow. Totally get that. But with something like that, that is a life changing. And let's say you're a younger person, not
Yes.
older, mature, that
Yes.
knows you got to have a
Absolutely,
job, be
absolutely.
responsible. But let's say you're a young person at the age of 18 in Canada when you can drink,
You make a
and you've
mistake.
just got your license, you made a mistake. That criminal record will follow you forever.
Yeah.
That criminal record you may not be able to travel to other countries around the globe for many, many, many years.
And there are even jobs that they will ask you if you have a driving license.
Exactly.
Which,
So that's one element of it. The other element of it is that we'll call it, people can get to the party, but they know they can't get back from the party if they drink. So that then impacts, we'll say, the fun. Okay, I'm not saying that all people need drinking to be fun, but I'm saying if you're going to go to a party and you know that you're at that party, the moment you open a beer, you can only drink one beer and then you got to go home. Well, here in China, there's zero tolerance in alcohol. But here's the big but. There's zero tolerance. You do not want to have a half a glass of beer and get into the car. No, not happening.
In Poland too.
But what the Chinese government, they use technology to deal with these situations. Now, one is ride sharing, very, very affordable to take a taxi. But let's say you take that car and you're at that bar and you all of a sudden say, yeah, you know what? I want to drink. They now give you an alternative. And that alternative is what you explained before. There are many, we'll call it bike, or we'll call them like the little scooters. They're foldable scooters. These gentlemen are wearing, very high res uniforms. You'll see hundreds of them outside of the bar area. And if not, you call them on your apps. They simply help you to your car, put you in the passenger seat. They take your keys. They put their little mini bike in the back. They put a nice little piece of fabric over top of your driver's seat so they don't get it messy in case they picked up something during the evening, while driving around. They deliver you to your home. They park your car. You get out of the car. They give you keys. And that's not going to break the bank. Okay?
That's a fundamental aspect.
That's not going to cost you $200. That's going to cost you $8 to $10.
So I was making the example the other day with you that a guy that works in a supermarket in Italy makes as much as a bartender here in Chongqing.
This is interesting. Let's go on this. Let's focus on this. This is a really interesting conversation that we had the other day. We were sitting in the bar and this great Chinese guy, very well, his mannerism to identify customers that came in. He was a perfect guy that you want to be a bartender in your establishment.
Before going into that,
yes.
I just want to say the difference is, if you want to get home here, it's going to be very cheap. If I want to get at home in Italy, from downtown to my district, it's between $30 and $50. I never take a taxi in Rome. It's too expensive.
Yeah. And that's taking a taxi.
And it's the same salary.
Do they have a service for somebody that can drive your car?
No. It's the same salary, more or less. But here you can get at home for $2, $3.
Yeah.
In Italy, it's 10 times more. Or 15 times
now,
more.
People might say to you, though, oh, that's China, but that's China. But, some things cost money here. Drinks cost money. It's not. And this whole thing about people earning power. And this is where we're going to shift to that. But once again, the government identified that, hey, people want to have a good time. They want to have fun and they're going to drink. We have an option. We've opened up the ride sharing apps. We've opened up the regulations, and we've opened that up to allow that. Now, imagine trying to push through these regulations in Western countries. Okay, it's a liability. Can the guy drive? What does he need Class A license for it? Does he need third-party external insurances? All that stuff, of course, needs to be worked out, but they've worked it out. They've worked it out electronically here, where the driver has, passed the test. We'll go into that in another live stream. But that brings us all the way up to this fact on earning power. And here's where I think a lot of people really get confused about China when they say, hey, they only make this much and we make this much. Okay. We did a side-by-side comparison on what a bartender was making at this bar.
Yes.
Let's hear it.
It was between Italy and China. For example, he was living in an apartment for $150 a month.
Yeah. And it's probably a decent probably a nice apartment for
Yes.
that.
And imagine getting the same salary of an Italian, and in Roma you have to pay $600 a month for a room in a house you share with 3-4 people.
Mm-hmm.
And that was the half of the salary is gone, even
Yeah.
more.
So let's say 30 to 40% of that European salary is gone to rent, right?
Even more.
Maybe even more. But let's be conservative
Mhm.
on this. Let's give the better edge there.
Mhm.
And let's say we go into this further now. Electricity, cost of living, right? Okay,
Yes.
electricity, food, cost of living, inflationary costs. And now the another whopper is how does that person get home? Let's say they work as a bartender in the city center and they have to come home at 3 a.m. Is public transport still open?
Yeah.
Sometimes it's not, right?
In Roma, it shuts down at 1.
Okay.
Yeah.
So does that make any sense that when you still have a nightlife, or at least in that night areas that are so congested with people, that most of these major cities shut off their, we'll call it transportation. Now, one of them, they say, well, we shut it off for concerns and safety. Well, then something's wrong with your society if you have to shut it down at that hour. Fix it. And in China here, not everything's perfect, but I'm going to tell you that how they work in these districts, there's responsibility all the way from the top all the way down to the bottom. But let's use this bartender as an example again. So let's say 10 to 15% of his wage is now used for rent. The tax structure is remarkably different than here.
Yeah, but we are both, in this case, both Italy and China, we are speaking about salaries after tax.
Okay.
So more or less, a supermarket worker in Italy makes the same as a bartender here in Chongqing. And Chongqing is not one of the most expensive cities, and probably it's not one of the highest paying cities.
Right.
So I would say also, from my personal experience these days, I was having lunch for $3, $4, max $5. Now, I can go in Roma to a university place and try to find a cheap lunch with a tiny plate of pasta or something and maybe pay 5 or 6 or 7. But it's getting harder and harder. What about all the people that work? And
yeah, I think, we even broke it down more. So we broke down what the cost of mobile costs were here. For a mobile plan here, it's about $8 to $10. Might be 30 to 40 euros.
No, Italy, it's the only thing that is good about Italy, maybe.
Okay. Let's talk home internet. Most of these internet packages are included with the mobile package here for that $10.
Anything good, you will not pay less than 50 per month.
Okay.
In Italy.
Let's talk about transportation. What are your transportation options in Italy
compared
to somebody that lives in Chongqing?
The metro line doesn't reach everywhere. The buses do, maybe about $50 a month at the moment.
Okay.
Yeah.
So metro lines from city to city, end to end in this city will cost you under $1. Now, what I mean by end to end is an 85-mile line. That's huge.
Yeah.
So probably 50 to 60 cents, but you are in a safe, clean, brand new metro line here. And I'll continue to break it down even more. We have hardly seen much inflationary things go on in the last couple of years here. In fact, most of them have been kept under control. But, if you're going to break it down dollar for dollar, what a person spends, how a person gets on with his life, it can be quite interesting. Let's just have a look and see how's the camera, guys. Are you guys happy with the camera? Our technical guys just come in here just to check to see if we're okay.
Should I answer to a couple of questions not
please
related to China?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, sure. Fire away.
There are
I think we're okay.
Subscribers here. Let's see. So guys, run your questions for a moment. I take over the channel. Italy has good spaghetti at least. I like the Chinese noodles, to be honest. And I like the idea that you drink as a soup what is left in the plate.
Right.
because it means I don't have to pay for a drink. I am that cheap, guys. One day I will be rich. So somebody was asking me about where to have better nightlife between Colombia and El Salvador. Definitely Colombia. 100% Colombia. El Salvador is a very, very tiny country. You can go for a few days, especially if you love surfing. For surfing, it's one of the best countries on the planet. But for all the rest, I would say Colombia. El Salvador reminds me too much of the US. Fast foods everywhere, people a bit chubbier, stuff like this. Colombia, it's a completely different culture. So if you're coming from the US, I would suggest for you to see something different. If you want to see something completely different, come to Asia. And what else? Prices can make a huge difference on a holiday, 100%.
Absolutely.
Yeah. 100%. This is the way I was able to travel for the past 3 years, choosing and being very selective regarding the countries. I will never go to Norway. There was someone from Norway here in the comments. I cannot afford to spend $15 for a kebab or a shawarma. I mean, I'm too big, even to keep myself full.
There's one way you can visit Norway, which I think you can do it, is you take
sponsorship.
Sponsorship. You take the cruise lines.
Mm-hmm.
And these are a very affordable way if you're taking cruise. And this is some
So
advice that
I eat inside the cruise. Yeah.
Well, what these cruise lines do is, for example, I was going to visit, some countries in South America that I didn't really feel comfortable.
Yeah, I
doing.
understand.
If you take a cruise around these countries, even like a Mediterranean cruise around.
Yeah.
Last time I checked, the Mediterranean cruise is quite affordable. It gives you 3 meals included, and of course, room, accommodation. But during the day, you get off the boat, you walk around, you see all the beautiful sights. They even sometimes give you time to have a drink or whatever. And then you come back on the boat and you're off to the next country. So that might be an idea. Norwegian cruise.
I'll tell you this. If I had a girlfriend, it will make sense. But by myself, spending 2 weeks on a boat, and I don't know, it feels kind of boring to me. I could probably make a good video out of it because I think the experience is interesting. But,
I've got something else I want to chat with you about.
Yes.
You just released your first video in China yesterday. How's that going?
It's going pretty well, honestly.
Okay.
I was hyping the fact that I want to go to China for the past 2 years. So probably some viewers caught into that. Many times you are in the top of my comments. So people have heard of China quite a lot. And
did they say, get rid of this guy, tell him to keep quiet?
I don't know. Sometimes you oversell China, so people become doubtful. That's the thing. And they're like, can we trust this guy? I'm like, so now they are getting my point of view. And do you remember yesterday night I sent you a screenshot?
Yeah, was this last night?
Yes, last night.
Tell me, let me have a look here.
I'm using WeChat now. I'm so Chinese, guys. So I wrote to Alex on WeChat and I sent to him.
Yes, I've got this comment here.
So, Slovenian subscriber.
Slovenian, okay.
And his partner, they both wrote to me. She said something like China was breathtaking and kept her mouth open and shocked during the entire video. And he wrote, we just watched it with our mouths open. The West lies about Russia and China all the time. It's like upside down, right side up. Can't wait for more. And I'm shivering in this moment. The camera will not pick it up. I'm just thinking about the idea that I had the same feeling when I landed here. You go inside the city, you see all these people walking, the freedom to do things. People are not caged inside their houses or are not stuck into factories. And I've been also to a factory the other day with Alex. Very beautiful feeling. And I understand why they're shocked. I'm getting so many Instagram DMs, direct messages of very surprised people. He was the one that I sent you, but I got more. And I'm like, wow. And now let's hope people will be open-minded enough to click on my videos and see what it's really like. Maybe I need to do like you did many times, like fake negative titles to attract them and then surprise them.
Fake negative titles.
Yeah,
Oh,
you know what I mean.
What are some of my fake
It's
negative
it's
titles?
you just China shocked me. I wasn't expecting this, and then everybody's like, "Oh, it's gonna shit on China," and instead you go inside, everything is beautiful and clean, and so we'll see.
Yeah, I mean it's going to be good. We're going to say goodbye to you guys now, but I just wanted to bring Michele Ponte onto the program here to welcome him to China. You got an incredibly busy week here, getting some paperwork in order, and also, to my understanding, you're going away next week to another location here in another province on another bullet train to do another adventure wow, I mean, that's going to be interesting.
Hopefully they're not going to give me too much baijiu like last time. But he was the instigator.
So we'll see some videos of you coming up here maybe next week, or what do you think your schedule will be like?
If I'll find the time to edit, because I changed the style, it takes so much time to edit these videos. I hope my publishing schedule is going to be Monday and Thursday, or Sunday and Monday.
Okay.
And hopefully we can get in a live stream like in the weekend. I would love to do some walking live streams. So people, when they will be live, they will be like, "Oh,
yeah, that's a good idea.
You cannot fake these videos. This is what it really is."
So we'll make sure that we get you. I'll be in the back scenes of it to make sure that you're going to be streaming with high quality 1080p.
I would love to have your help.
And, I look forward to that.
I would love to walk around the city, experience stuff, maybe try some different foods.
Yeah.
And
just to show you, and that really will be the test for people.
Yeah.
I remember I had a real hater come on when I was in live, and he's like, "You can't do this and that." And I was like, "Okay, what can't I do?" "Oh, you can't walk into the camera in a metro." I went into a camera in the metro. "Oh, you can't walk into a busy pedestrian area with a camera." I walked into a busy pedestrian area. "Oh, the police will tell you to stop." I walked up to the police. "Hi, guys." They waved. You know what I mean? So it's going to be it'll be cool. And
that's why
this is the city. One of these cities like this is
I
the one to
think
do.
Live streams are very important. Street live streams, the way I did them in Thailand. I was doing 7-8 hours live stream. I know 7-8 hours is going to be a bit too much at the moment. We are not this well prepared for these challenges, but it would be amazing. It would be amazing to show what it really is.
Well, thanks everybody. And if you are just joining this program, you can watch it back from the start. Don't forget to share and subscribe to Michele Ponte's channel. If somebody could put that link in the comment box as we speak, where we can find his channel, that would be greatly appreciated. Thanks, Kevin, Ken, the Quantum. Bola, thank you for joining in at the last moment there. Or maybe you've been here earlier. I haven't been able to pay too much attention to the comments. But once again, we really appreciate you guys' support. What a great honor it is to have Mr. Ponte. And we will continue. You'll see more of him. We'll do some more live streams, but he's just getting into first gear here in China. Thank you very much, Ken, for throwing that link out there. And you guys, from us here in Chongqing, it's lunchtime. You guys have a pleasant evening or morning or afternoon, wherever you guys are. And we will talk to them soon, right?
Cheers.
Take care, guys.